Hey y'all, Noons here from Banana Hobby, and welcome back to Noons Airborne RC. This is the assembly video for the J-3 Cub from BlitzRzcworks, and before we start, this is the version 2. There are some changes and the manual hasn't caught up, so let's talk about them. This piece right here has been changed. It's no longer fully plastic. They removed these little plastic arms. In the next picture, I'll show you the original V1, and that's how it looked. Now in the version 2, they changed it out where you have 4 springs all the way around, and that's going to prevent it from breaking, and I think it's a little bit more sturdy. Well y'all, what do you say? Let's get started. Now for the last steps for the gear is for our wheels. Now the wheels are held on by this little, what do you call, a hub lock. And all that consists of is that little hole goes onto that stud. Now this is very, very tight, guys. I recommend taking this, doing this on camera, and threading it on before you actually put on the tire. This way, if you feel that it goes on really, really tight, you can back it off if need be enlarge the hole a little bit. As you can see, I'm doing about 1 turn in, half a turn out. And basically what we're doing is we're threading this little cap. I can see doing this when the tire is on how hard it would be. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to screw this down until I can't no more, until basically it bottoms out. I know a lot of people, when the tire is on, they'll be tempted to put pliers right here. And that's a no-no on the plastic. So we're basically going to go until we can't go no more. And there we go. And I started earlier, and that's this side. And I think I can go down a little bit more. Let's go ahead and back it off a little bit and go down. There we go. We went down a little bit more. And there you go. Now we're going to back these off and we'll be right back. Okay. Now to mount the tires, this right here is the outside and that is the inside. You're simply just going to put it on right there. It is a tight fit. So I just sit here and I spin the tires until they go all the way on. Once it passes that thread, as you can see, it's completely loosened up. We're going to go ahead and take that little hub block. We're going to put it right there. And since we already pre-threaded it, it should go on nice and easy, as you can see. This way, we're not going to damage it trying to tighten this right here with a pair of pliers, and we're just going to simply tighten these up by hand. And there we are, guys. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to this side, and we'll be right back. Alright, moving on to the empennage, we're going to need the following pieces to complete the process. You're going to need your elevator and your rudder. You're going to need the bag of 8 springs, the steel cable ties. You're going to need 2 sets of control horns, 2 back plates, and 2 sets of screws, total of 4 on each side. You'll need this piece right here out of the scale bag. And you'll also need a total of 6 of these. There should be 2 gray and 4 green. Okay, everybody, to start off, we went ahead and did our control horns already. Very simple process, no need to show you guys that. We got 1 control horn here for the elevator with our back plate and the 4 supplied screws. And on the rudder, we have that scale piece. Slides right onto the back right here on the rudder, and then you put your control horn with the 4 screws and the back plate into one piece. Very easy, guys. Now on the next part, we have these little plates right here, and these are for the scale bits for the wires. You do get 4 green and you get 2 gray. The 2 gray right here, they will go on the bottom of this elevator, 1 there and 1 there. And the green will go 1 on the side of here, 1 on the side of there, and on the top of the elevators. Now to do that, we're going to use some glue. Also, when mounting this onto the plane, we're going to need the following screws from your screw bag. We're going to need the 3mm by 30mm, the 3mm by 35mm, and the 3mm by 40mm. These 2 are for the rudder. This is for the elevator. So we're going to start by gluing these on and then installing it onto the plane. Okay, for this process, guys, I'm just going to use foam-tac for this. We're going to start off with the 2 gray. We'll do a quick test fit, make sure that they fit good. Now, this is not going to be load-bearing, guys. So I'm not too worried about pulling paint off of this and doing all that fun stuff. There's not going to be a lot of stress on here. This is just the scale bits. So we got that one to fit. And we'll test fit this one. I always test fit everything, guys. As you can see, that's not lined up right there all the way, but we will make it so, and you don't even see it. So now that we got those to fit, and our elevator closes and it opens, we'll go ahead and throw a dab of foam-tac. That's what I'm going to go ahead and use. Go ahead and pull this out. Right, and I'll get my X-Acto, and I'm just going to mar these up a little bit just to give something for it to help stick like nails. I do this to a lot of models, and this is enough. So we'll take our foam-tac. We'll throw some glue right there on the bottom. We'll slide it in. We'll do the same thing to the next one. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to all the pieces, and we'll be right back, y'all. Okay, now that we got those little scale bits glued in, we're going to need our elevator, and we're going to need the 3 by 30 millimeter screws. They're basically just going to take our elevator, we're going to lay it down on the plane, and we're going to feed our screws through. And we're going to line it up with this box right here where the rudder slides into the best we can. We're going to start our screws first though. I got that one pretty close. I got that one pretty close. So let's get this lined up. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. We're going to hold it right there. And snug it down. All right. We're a little too far this way, so we're going to have to loosen that up. That looks good. All right. I'm going to tighten this screw down. And let's get that rudder. Now we're going to take our rudder. And you also have this little hinge right here. There's a slot in the back of here on the back of your plane. You just open it up a little bit. And all I had to do is just feed it in from the back until you get in that slot. Get into these 2 channels, and we're just going to gently push it together. That little hinge catches on the elevator, but you just push it past it. We're going to push it on down. There we go. And to tie in the rudder, we're going to need our 3 by 35 millimeter and 40 millimeter. We're going to flip the plane over and get this thing cinched down. We got our plane flipped over. We have our 40 millimeter here in the front and our 35 millimeter in the back. Make sure we got it flush. And we're simply just going to tighten the screw. I'm going to get it till I get it just snug. Do the one in the rear, same way. I'm going to check for my alignment before I tighten her on down. Okay. Looks pretty good. Right there. And you just want to tighten these down till a touch. You'll start to see the plates push down on the foam. Right there. Now to finish up the back, we're going to do the steel wires It comes with two sets, too long, too short. The short are for the bottom, the longs for the top. You also got a bag that had 8 springs. You're going to need 2 springs per side. And this is very simple, everybody. Very simple. We're basically going to take one of these little wires. We're going to feed the spring. We're going to connect the spring to this side and the same thing on the other side. Now on these springs, everybody, there is an open end and then a looped end. The open end is what we're going to feed through here on these scale pieces. Because on here, there is an open end, we can feed it as well. So we'll just do that. One there. Do the same thing to the other side. Pull the springs. All right. What I found easier to do, since that just snapped out of my hand, I'll get a pair of needle nose and I'll open up that spring just a little bit. We'll hook it onto here first. Then it should be easy just to get in there and hook, just like that. Okay guys, to close out the back, a little helpful tip. When I went ahead and I started putting on this wire, the springs are very, very tight. So what I ended up doing is when I started putting these on, as you've seen in earlier, they'll snap out. Not to put so much stress on the glue joints. What I did is I grabbed the spring and I stretched them out just a little bit. As you can see, they're still taut. But I gave it enough that it wasn't trying to rip them out of the foam whatsoever, because that was really, really, really tight. I mean, you had to stretch these springs in this wire about a ½ inch. So hopefully that helps you out. Now let's go ahead and do the tail wheel. For the tail section, you'll notice in the manual it has you gluing the piece in. There's no need for that. This is the version 2, so it's been upgraded. The plastic piece that you would be installing on here, it is now metal, as you can see, which is also cool because now you got a set screw in case you need to go ahead and adjust your steering. Also, the linkage to the rudder was using springs, and now they're using the Z-bend wire, so it's a little bit more robust. You also need these 2.6 by 8 millimeter screws to finish this tail assembly with the rear steering wheel. So let's get it going. We're going to take our Z-bends, and for the geometry, we're going to have to install them from underneath. So we're just going to go right here into the hole, bend it out. Same thing on the other side. If you do it from the other direction, the linkage will not meet up with the rear tire. We got our screws, we got our screwdriver. And now that you got this piece, you can take this piece off and install it completely when it's over and done with. I'm going to see if I can do it one felt swoop. All right, so we got the tire right here. We're going to go ahead and hook in this side. Then we'll hook in this side. See if we can get it to get there. All right. Let me get my reading glasses. Be right back. Wow, I can see. All right, we got that one in there. See if we can get this one. All right. Okay. Get it to bend out. We got to get number 2. And this tire goes in the back like that. So we'll bend this back. There we go. Too easy. Now we're going to take those 2.6 by 8 millimeter screws. Put one right up here in the front, just to help hold it in place. Okay. We'll get the other one in. All right. Line it up. That looks pretty good right there. Yeah. Tighten it down. All right, she's lined up. She's ready to go. We got the linkage all set. We already centered out our elevator and our rudder and attached our control surface, and we clicked on it. I'm going to go back and put a rubber band or some shrink wrap tubing just to lock these in. But other than that, the whole empennage is completely done. Let's move on to the wings. Okay, now for the wings, and we're almost to the finish line. So for this process, we're going to need our two wing halves. We're going to need our wing support struts, our Y, if you're going to Y the ailerons together. We're going to need our control horns, our last 4 scale pieces, our push rods, a servo tester, and a battery. We'll also need our spars and our clear scale piece for the wings. So let's go ahead and get started. And what I did off camera is, since this is going to be a supporting piece, I went ahead and I removed the tape off of the 4 locations off of the wing. So to start, what I'd like to do is I like to install our control horn, center out our servo, and get our push rod in place so we can get our control rods done, and then we can get the wing assembled. So for the wing support brackets, here they are, and I don't know if it comes out in the camera, it's kind of hard to tell, but it is square here, and it kind of rounds out thinner there. Can you see that right? The thicker part goes towards the center of the wing, and the thinner part goes towards the outside. That way it gives its little shape right here. Now for the wing supports, as I said earlier, since it is a supporting piece, I removed the tape. And we're just going to go ahead and use the rest of this foam-tac here. We spread it very liberally where we need it. We don't want to use too much, because as you guys know, if you do use too much of this stuff, it will melt the foam of the plane. So we'll just put some in here, just like that. A little there, a little there, a little there. Almost done with this bottle. All right, we're going to repeat the process 3 more times and we'll be right back. Now for the control surfaces, everybody, what we're going to need is our servo tester and a battery. And we'll go ahead and connect this to the servo. And we have control, and we'll center out our servo. And what we'll need now is our control push rod. And you can see our control horn is already installed. I did that off camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this bad boy. We're going to fish it in. I'm going to go on the outside hole. I want the most deflection for this. And since we have this already centered, I like to pinch this right here. And I need to be coming in a lot. All right, see where we're at now. Do 2 more turns and see where we're at. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. All right. We'll flip her around. Full range of motion. We'll center it out. And that's it. Now I am going to be putting shrink wrap, guys, around these clevises. This is just to get it in the ballpark till we get our radio installed. Now let's finish up this wing. So we're going to put our two wing halves together. We're going to need our two spars and our center piece. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wing. We're going to shove in one spar. We're going to shove in two spars. Too easy, right? We're going to take this piece. Now this piece that has this little tongue, this is going to go towards the front. And we're just going to basically... run this right through here. Might have to feed it a little bit. There we go. Should slide right in there. There we go. Looks good. Now we're going to take our other wing and we're going to slide it right on. It's going to be pretty tight. Just the way a new plane should. We got a little bit of foam in the hole. All right. Clean up the hole. Voila. Make sure we got our leads out the way. Slide it together. Get it to line up so it doesn't dig into the foam. Okay, now that we got the wing halves slewed together with our clear piece in the middle, we went ahead and installed the supports onto the pieces that we glued earlier with the screws supplied. I didn't show that on camera because that's pretty self-explanatory. Just remember, it's the thicker part, the thicker bar, to the leading edge of the wing. I also put the Y on our wires so we can go ahead and feed it through the fuselage. So let's go ahead and look at the fuselage before we put this together. Everybody, to install the wing, we're going to need two of these screws right here. Now our wires, whether you're going to wire them or send them straight down, if you are going to send them straight down, you will need extensions. That's the purpose for the Y. That's going to go through this little slot right here, and that's going to come out right underneath the servos. And the tongue on the clear piece that's on our wings, that's going to slide right into here. Okay, everybody, we're going to try and get this on camera. We're going to take our wing assembly right here. And we're basically just going to go ahead and drop these off to the side. We won't need those right now. We just go ahead and turn the wing and just let them drop down. It's hard to do this on camera, y'all. So the first thing we want to do is we want to hold our wing right here, and we want to feed our Y down in that hole and make sure it comes out the other end before we start sealing stuff up. It helps if you don't lift the rear of your wing up, lay it flat, and it will line up with that little slot right there. And you just got to give it a little wiggle and she'll punch her right through. Next, we're going to get our last two screws. These are the thick ones right here, long 35 millimeters. We're going to drop them through these holes right here to secure the wing on. And that's it, everybody. The wing's on. What do you guys think? Now we're going to flip this over so we can go ahead and secure the wing supports. At the same time, we're also doing the landing gear. Okay. Last part, y'all. We're going to get our landing gear ready. So what we want to do is we want to grab our wing supports, and we have these two areas right here. We want to pin that into the wing by simply just pushing them into the hole that's right there, aligning it and pushing it down. And this part will go right there. The gear will be placed right on top. So we're going to do the other side. And there we go. Now we're going to grab our gear, y'all. The first thing we're going to do is the slot right there. We're going to take our gear and we're going to feed the wire into that slot. Now be careful when you're pushing down on things. You don't want to push down on the glued pieces because they might split off and then you'll have to re-glue them again. I like to push down right here on this little bevel and get it worked in all the way down, just like that. And if you're having troubles pushing in the gear, you can grab a screwdriver or a wrench and just support it from underneath and just push down, and that's it. Once we got her secure, you're gonna have a bag just like this, 3 screws and a plastic piece. We're gonna go ahead and knead those now. And what this piece is there's a white side and a gray side. The gray side out, you're simply going to feed this into the slot. And what this bar and screws are going to do is it's going to prevent this gear from backing out on a hard landing or just wiggling out on its own, and then you take off and then you're going to have an interesting landing later on. All right, y'all. The last 2 screws and washers hold the strut and the rear gear together to the fuse. So we're just going to line this up, line up our gear, and she should go together. That's it, everybody. We're going to go ahead and put that back. Put our plate in. Whoo, what a build, guys. Easy. Just a little bit more work than usual, and you get a beautiful plane. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I already went ahead and I balanced my prop, so she's ready to go. Do not pull it out of the box and just directly go ahead and put it on. Make sure you balance your prop, guys. Just going to take this and slide it on in. Take our collet. I always take a little wrench, and you don't have to tighten it too much, guys. You really don't. Just a little good snug. And that's it. Well, y'all, that's going to go ahead and do it for the assembly video for the BlitzRzcworks J-3 Piper Cub in Army Green. Easy build, just took a little bit of time, saved a lot of money. One thing that I did change out, guys, and I ended up having is I had an extra 12x8 Falcon wood prop. Makes it look really, really good. Nothing wrong with the other prop, but most of the pictures that I've seen of this plain black and white, most of them had a wood prop, and it just sets it off. If you like what you see, the link's down in the description. Stay tuned to part 3 of the series where we'll be doing our maiden, and I'll be telling you the CG and the throws for this bird. Once again, thanks for coming by the Noons Airborne RC hangar, and thanks for choosing Banana Hobby. Noons out.